The Outspoken Network here. You got your hosts, Brian and Jeff on. Jeff, how's it going, brother?
It's going good. How's it going?
It's going real good. Been real busy. Listen to the last part of the show. We'll give you what's going on and what's our locker, what we've been up to. We got an interesting show. We're going to be all over the map. Headlines edition. We got a little bit of baseball. I'm going to talk to Jeff about the baseball changes, rule changes. We got some interesting comments by Coach Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys. We have the NBA update at the very end of the show as well. We're talking some NBA because NBA is kind of wrapping into seeing who's going to set that playoff lineup. But join us, guys, right after this. All right, guys, welcome in. It's the Outspoken Network here, Sportscast, episode 190. Headlines. We're going to give you the headlines of the week, guys. Welcome back. Hope you guys had a fantastic week. I've been busy, Jeff. I know you've been busy. We'll get into that at the end of the show here at the What's in Our Locker segment. I'm really interested to see. We got football's wrapped up. Unfortunately, we got the XFL, you got the USFL starting. Are you watching any of those, Jeff? Are you interested in that?
Interested in it, but I haven't been paying attention. It's just been focused on other things. But yeah, I have. It's something that I'm definitely interested in for sure.
Now, I watched the opening week of the XFL. Sorry, if my light's broken. For some reason, it's not working. I watched the opening week for the NFL or not NFL, but the XFL, and I really liked it. It wasn't as high scoring, but I liked the instant replay. I like how they had that set up where, the refs are mic'd up when they go into that conversation of what's going on. They're mic'd up. You get to hear the conversations, and it was instant. Like they had a guy in the booth go, "Yep, that was incomplete," or "Yep, that was caught." Yep, keep going. It was fast paced. They had it going really great. I like the first, second, or I like the 1, 2, or 3 points after the touchdown. You get a chance to score 1 point, 2 point, or 3 points. And the onside kick is excellent because you don't do an onside kick. You get a 4th and 15. And if you convert the 4th and 15, it's your ball and you keep going to try and win the game. That happened with a team. They were down by like, what was it? They were down by like 13 points. They scored a touchdown. They got the 3-point conversion. And then they did the 4th and 15, got it, went down and scored a touchdown and won the game. It was pretty interesting. But the USFL
Yeah, I did see.
starts this month, I believe.
Yeah, I saw a kickoff that was. I think just vaguely watched the kickoff, and I thought that was interesting. How you had to wait till the guy got the ball.
Yeah, and then they're lined up 5 yards or 10 yards away from each
Yeah,
other, and that's kind
something
of
like that.
it's kind of to minimize the high impact play, right? As player safety. I think that's something the NFL may look into later down the road.
Yeah,
You know,
I can see them adopting that.
yeah, that's something, and that's what I think. I want to watch these other leagues, and I'll pay attention to the XFL, and I'll pay attention to the USFL, and and you could take different things away from them. I'd like to see the NFL take the good things away from them and kind of use them in the NFL because there's things that should need to be fixed over there. But um, more football is more football. So interested to see who's gonna be interested in that. But we got to get into the baseball changes. Okay, MLB's about to start. We got the spring training going on right now. I'm excited for the first time in a while about the Texas Rangers. Baseball changes, Jeff, and I talked about this last week when I did the solo edition here by myself, and I overall I like the rules they changed. So we're gonna go through them real quick here, Jeff. I want your kind of opinion, and I'll give you my opinion too on what we think and if it's good for the game. Do we like it or not? And first is it's the most talked about thing already. And before we get into that, real quick, this is already has baseball talked about more than anything else in spring training. Um, and then years before, right? Like no one really talked about baseball right now. You know, it's not the beginning of the season. This pitch clock, they have the pitch timer and the automatic strikes for the hitters or the automatic balls. That's in his baseball games, spring training games, has baseball already talked about. So for baseball standpoint, that's already a good place to start. But so the pitch timer, basically a pitcher has 15 seconds with the bases empty to throw a pitch, and with the runners on, he has 20 seconds. They give him an extra 5 seconds. If he violates that at all, it is a automatic strike or ball. Now, we've seen it both ways. We've seen it where the pitcher takes too long and he gets a ball put on him. We've seen it where a batter takes too long getting back in the box and they give him an automatic strike. Do you like this? This is obviously to speed up the play of baseball. Do you like this rule? This seems pretty interesting, but
I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think it's something that's been toyed around in AAA, AA. I think a lot of these ironing out the kinks. Yeah, they tested them in the lower leagues and stuff, and so I don't have an issue with it at all. Especially the pitch clock. I think that's that can be that's been, I guess, like manipulated over the years, and people have kind of taken advantage of stepping out of the box and taking their time, and so this will definitely increase that. And there going to be some instances where their players will be caught off guard, but I think overall, I know that the pitcher and the catcher can communicate with isn't it just with a microphone or some device? I think they can actually speak to each other. Or I'm not sure if that's a part of these new rules or not, but I know that was something that was last year. They were toying around with that.
I haven't seen anything on these rules about that, but
I know that, but I think the pitchers will be fine. It's the batters I think might have a bit of you may see more of that this year than I think the pitchers. I think the pitchers can have a better communication as to how long they've stepped, how long it's taken them to throw the ball versus I think the batters will definitely be caught off guard, especially in tense moments. That'll be interesting.
Right. And it'd be interesting the pressure that a pitcher has with runners on, and you have 20 seconds. And
yeah, that's true.
So that'll be interesting. Now, they've tested these things out. Oh, you're sounding like you're sounding like a robot. I don't know.
When he throws to do what?
Sorry, you were sounding like a robot there for a minute. I couldn't hear some of that, but continue going. When he throws, you're talking about when he tries to pick.
So if you throw, yeah, does it reset?
It's going to reset between that. That's also another rule. We'll talk about right after this one because that's changed too. So, they tested this in the pitch timer, and they've got the average game time in AAA last year was like, or the year before, the average baseball game was about 3 hours and 4 minutes, 3 hours and 15 minutes. They were getting these baseball games with this pitch timer down to 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. So you're cutting off 30 to 40 minutes of a baseball game, which is great for fan bases, I believe, coming out and no one wants to, It used to be the batter after each pitch was stepping out of the box and I'm gonna tighten my gloves and I'm gonna grab some dirt and you're doing a whole free throw routine up there. And so I just think this is I think it's gonna be great for baseball.
Yeah.
Now the pitchers, as far as trying to pick players off, they can only try and pick players off 3 times per plate appearance.
Oh, okay.
So they cannot no longer just throw to first base 5 times in a row. I like this because
Yeah, I do too.
um, they did this, and if the pitcher violates that, it's automatic balk.
Oh, shoot.
If they
Okay.
forget, boom, boom, boom. Oh, dang, I forgot. It's a balk. That's the next base. So I like this because um, the studies that they've done and watching what's happened in the AAA baseballs, stolen bases have gone out the wazoo. Wazoo. More base
That's
stealing,
crazy.
more base running, more action. This is what we're looking for in baseball. This is what they're looking for. So I think that is fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
I think these are rules that I think are going to be very beneficial overall. This is kind of what people have been looking for to change things up. You know, going down the list, really, if you think about it.
yeah, and this is what they're not just making rules just to change baseball. They're what can we do to get better at these things because they know they need to work on some things, and I think they're getting there. And this is exciting. Now, another one, Jeff, that I love is the shift restrictions.
Yeah,
They've gone to where they could shift many baseball players on one side of the field as they want and really restrict the batter to either striking out or lining out. This is going to put the ball in play more now. The rule is you have to have 2 infielders on each side of the bases. Um, they have to have the infielders need to have both feet on the dirt as the pitch released, so they cannot run over there. Um, Now today there was kind of a loophole used on Joey Gallo in spring training. They took the left fielder and put him in right center, so you had 3 outfielders on the right side. I just don't know if someone's that ballsy to do that in a regular season game because if he hits the ball to the left field, that's who's getting it. Who's
yeah.
getting it? The
I
shortstop
did
sprinting
hear
out
that they
there
were going to
like
do that. I did hear that they were going to do. People were going to try some maneuvers with outfielders
yeah.
to kind of challenge that, I guess. But
I
we'll
I I
see.
hope someone puts it in left field and gets it inside the Parker because um that's I just hate the shift. It takes
Yeah.
away a lot of the field and you have
Well,
guys. That's what's turned baseball into strikeout or home run. Really, I
right.
mean,
I mean, and if they try that this year, if you have teams that are trying to mess with the outfield, then they're just gonna make a rule next year. And I mean, there's not gonna be a shift. They'll make a rule
yeah,
where you can't dance around the outfielders to make a shift, quote unquote. You know,
and they should
makeshift
be
shift.
right a makeshift shift. Yeah, they should be. They're trying to get rid of that. They're trying to add, and it's all about putting the ball in play, having more excitement on the base pass, stealing more
Right.
bases, and that's what you
Bigger
don't
bases,
see.
bigger
Yeah.
bases. You
Um.
know, increase. That's going to be increase the stolen base scenarios. It's going to increase. You know, I think it'll even change beating out or a throw. That's so it's going to be interesting in there in that too. I don't think I've heard people talk about that, but getting to first base
A little closer,
now that it's a little closer now. So you're going to have some interesting aspects to
maybe.
that too.
Well, and I think the biggest reason they did that is because they tried it out in the minors and it cut down on injuries.
That's good. Yeah.
So that's good all around for baseball. And like I said, the these rules are making seem to be making a lot of sense in my head about okay, I'm going to get back into exciting to watch baseball. Um, because we talked about this before, and we really probably should talk about it again later on in a different episode about analytics changing sports for the worse or the better, and I think it's changed baseball for the worse out of all of them. So I think they're kind of they've gone too far one way. They're kind of trying to overcorrect it now, and I like these rule changes, and looking forward to this season.
Yeah, the only thing I wish they would have gotten rid of, and I still till
I
this
think
I still don't understand it. Um, I think the overtime rule is just crazy. I mean, you're putting somebody. I get if you want to put someone on base, put one on first, but don't put one on
yeah,
second.
yeah,
It's if you're a home field team, you're already at a disadvantage right there. And now all they need one little hit, and that guy's fast enough. He's scoring, and
yeah.
that's it. And now you
A
have to
little
claw
bloop in
back.
the left field.
Yeah,
So
now
I
you have
mean,
to claw back to score 2 runs or 1 run to tie it, but 2 runs to win, and it's just
and they don't do that in the playoffs, though, right? That doesn't.
no, they don't do it in
Okay.
the playoffs. And so that's what I mean. There's a lot of
It's kind of like,
just strange games won and lost in weird ways like that last
well,
year.
and
It's
when you
just
come down to the end of the season, where one or two games matter for the playoffs, that's
exactly.
huge. Now you look at the NHL hockey; they go 3-on-3, which is fun to. I mean, that's pretty cool. But in the playoffs, it's back to normal. And there, I mean, I get the reason they're trying to do it is because they want to
Right.
again
They don't want
speed up the game. Yeah,
18 inning games.
but those are fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
If you're at the ballpark or what, I think those are fun. Like you get the part of history. You'll see, I don't know, and um, they're also cutting down this year on the amount of non pitchers that can pitch. There's we see a lot of guys go out there that are role players, um, you know, out there on the mound pitching. So they've changed that a little bit around, but overall, I think we've got a thumbs up from both of us. I want to find out. I want to ask Craig next time he's on the show about this too, because he's a big baseball guy, and I want to know if he enjoys these rules that they're changing. But so far, I've not heard somebody come back negative on any of these things, um, and go against it. But if you're out there, let me know. Let us know. Um, the next headline, and it's kind of interesting. Coach McCarthy for the Dallas Cowboys had some interesting things to say the other day, Jeff, and it really raised some red flags for me. I'm not even a Cowboys fan, so I wonder if the Cowboys fans are thinking the same way or they like it. Coach McCarthy says he wants to slow the offense down and he wants to run the ball more, Jeff. He wants to take the ball out of the quarterback's hand. Um, this is red flag central for me. He talked about Kellen Moore wanting to score as many points as possible last year in the last two couple years. And what they do with Kellen Moore this offseason, they fired him. Why would you not? Why would you not want to score as many points as possible? Isn't that the point of the game, Jeff? Isn't that what the Kansas City Chiefs do, Jeff? Every Sunday, is they go out and they try and put as many points as they can on the board. Um, you want to run the ball. This isn't the 1990s, Jeff. Right? This is this
Yeah.
is 2023. This is a passing football league. You pay your quarterback elite money, and you're telling me you want to take the ball out of his hand and you want to run the football. That makes no sense to me. You do that with a guy that's not getting paid $40 million, right? You do that with a rookie quarterback maybe that's kind of settling in the league. You do that with a Jimmy Garoppolo who isn't going to be the main factor or reason why you win football games. But when you're paying your quarterback $40 million and you come out and tell me that you want to run the ball more, to me that means maybe he doesn't think Dak Prescott's the guy.
Right. No, I think that, when it comes to this kind of stuff, the main problem with the Cowboys, in terms of what was going on was that maybe I don't know. I mean, they have Pollard, but Pollard got hurt.
Well, they're gonna franchise tag him, I think.
Zeke isn't the same. That's pretty
Nope.
obvious at this point. Um, will Zeke take a restructured contract deal? I don't know. I mean, I
They
don't even know if it's even worth that.
they said a lot of the GMs and people around football said that Zeke's done. His legs aren't there anymore, and unless he stays, the only way he makes more than league minimum, Jeff, is if he stays with Dallas. And he says he's willing to take a pay cut, but how big of a pay cut is he willing to take?
It's even worth it though.
No.
I mean, it's just like, yeah, take a pay cut, but for what? I mean, you're still not a contributing factor to this team. Pollard's obviously better than you. You know, Dak still wants to throw. It's pretty obvious. At this point, I don't know. This
It,
is a big problem because the league isn't. It's a high scoring league. It's a quarterback league. I mean, the whole NFL is like that. I mean,
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, like it's a high scoring, and when you're running the ball, that's great for playoff football. That's great for late season football because that's what it's about. You have to run the ball to kind of do that. But I mean, it's all high scoring stuff now. I just don't understand what Mike McCarthy's even talking about.
I don't understand either. And if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm worried. I'm really worried about his comments. And um, you know what's interesting to me too with the Dallas Cowboys is they're so worried about changing things for Dak. When you got Mike McCarthy and he didn't want to change the language. He didn't want to change up this or that because he didn't want to make it. He didn't want to make it confusing for Dak. Um, when Kellen Moore took over the offensive role, it was the questions of is this Jason Garrett's offense still or is it not? Then Kellen Moore kind of broke out, and what does Coach McCarthy say? He says we're not going to change a whole lot of things. Why not? This is supposed to be your offense now, Coach McCarthy. This is your job on the line here, Coach McCarthy, and you want to run the football more, and you don't want to change things up because what Dak can't is Dak not capable of learning a new system?
Well, here's the interesting part. The comments being made tells you what they think of Dak. Also, I mean, I don't know if McCarthy's not is like I don't really trust the ball in his hands right now. I think we should run the ball more.
It's
It's like
exactly what read between the lines, guys. This is exactly what you're telling me is you don't believe in your quarterback.
no.
And
And I don't know if this is a Jerry. I don't think it's a Jerry thing. I think Jerry Jones is all about Dak. I think Jerry Jones is all in on him. But I think in terms of coaching, maybe the coaches see something different. I don't know. But the window is closing, people, and it's closing and closing and closing.
Will be Dak's 7th year in the league. We know what Dak Prescott is. He's not the guy. I flipped that switch of Dak's a good quarterback. Dak can win you games. Dak is not the guy.
Right.
I think Coach McCarthy's telling you that. I think there's a lot of question marks there. And
I don't even think Coach McCarthy's the guy.
Well, I'm not a big believer in Coach McCarthy either. I think this is kind of his sink or swim season with him taking over the job, with Jerry Jones firing his right hand man and getting rid of a lot of coaches that he brought in here. It's kind of going, okay, this is it.
Right.
And Dan Quinn takes over if he fails, if McCarthy fails, which I think he will.
That's kind of the idea. That's why Dan Quinn came back. I'm sure.
It's got to be.
The writing's on the wall on that one.
I just don't know, guys. I don't think Dak's the guy. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. I'm not saying that. I just don't think he's the guy that will lead you there.
Well, I think some of the excuses this last season was that he was still alien from the injury. I was like, oh, okay, all right. I mean, it's always something, I mean, but for some odd reason, he was making weird and split decisions that weren't. I mean, incisive decisions, throwing to favorite targets, like ignoring open receivers. That's what was happening towards the end.
He doesn't hit guys in stride. He's not as accurate as he needs to be. There's question marks there.
Right.
Dak's a top 10 quarterback. but doesn't mean he's going to take you to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And if you don't think he could take you to the Super Bowl, you're wasting your time. I think Lamar Jackson's the same way. Lamar Jackson, electric, fun to watch, not a great quarterback. Not going to win the Ravens the Super Bowl. Do they move on from him this offseason? That's a whole different question. But
In
they
terms of the Cowboys and stuff, this doesn't look great. And it looks like they don't trust their quarterback. It looks like McCarthy is talking about running more, which is that fans are going to be not excited about that phrasing, I can assure you.
Jerry Jones loves to run the football because that's how they won in the 90s. But I'm like, this isn't the 90s anymore, man.
Gosh.
That's why he used a first round draft pick on Zeke Elliott. And they're already, Craig came on here, I think it was Craig, already talking about, oh, what if we get Bijan Robinson out of Texas? He's a beast of a running back. Are you going to use another first round pick on a running back? Have you not learned that the Giants did it with Saquon Barkley, and he has one good year and he wants to get paid? I'm like, bro, you're hurt 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Using a first round pick on a running back is stupid. Stupid.
Offensive line or something like that, as much as that's not exciting, that even makes more sense.
Yeah.
You're like
Offensive line, defensive line,
right.
cornerback,
Yeah.
quarterback, safe.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not even safety, but
longevity. That's kind of the idea. You don't want to
uh,
waste a first round pick on something that doesn't have longevity.
well, speaking of picks here, Jeff, Jalen Carter is an absolute beast out of Georgia. All right. He is a defensive tackle out of Georgia. He plays great defense. He's supposed to be one of the best coming in the draft. Well, he's into a little bit of hot water, Jeff. He made a terrible decision after Georgia won the championship against TCU. He decided to go and street race. And that street race that he was in, the other vehicle got in a wreck, causing the two people in the car to die. Like they lost their lives. They were traveling at 104 miles per hour in a Tahoe. We're not talking about a street racing car. It was like a Tahoe or an Expedition, some big, huge vehicle. They wrecked. The driver was intoxicated. Okay. Jalen Carter, though, was in the other vehicle, was not drinking, had no drugs in his system, nothing like that. So he is getting a slap on the wrist, basically, and he's already back. Like, they arrested him and then they let him go. Like, basically, I think it's a misdemeanor in over there in Georgia. Now, obviously, a tragic situation, a dumb decision to travel at the high speeds, to race, to whatever. Obviously tragic. But people are acting like this guy's life is over. My buddy said today, "Oh, he just ruined his career?" No, he didn't. He's going to get drafted in the first round, just like he did. His draft stock will not fall because of this. I guarantee it. I told him that today. I looked it up on ESPN before we got on here. I was like, what are they saying about it? And they're saying the same exact thing I told him. His draft stock will not fall.
I'm sure it'll be a red flag.
I'm sure he's going to get asked about it,
we need
right?
to pay attention. Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely is getting asked at the combine.
Oh yeah.
And even in pre-draft stuff. But it's going to be a red flag because the team, whoever gets him, is going to be like, you're on watch. Basically, I mean, you cannot. You're not going to be able to continue having things come up, over and over again, and so it's a red flag when something comes up like that, where it's like, is this going to be a common occurrence? Are you going to be in trouble a lot? Or is this, is this going to be a nothing thing where it's like it happened and it was unfortunate, but nothing else will happen again, and kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know. Von Miller, that's going to, one of the worries there is that he had a lot of off the field crap when he first came onto the Broncos, and he cleaned it up. He didn't have any more after that. It was just, something that happened. And after that, he wasn't, he was on the straight and narrow. So we'll see. I'm sure teams are definitely looking into it. Does it affect anything? Who knows? But I'm sure that it's definitely something that's on their radar that they're going to talk to him about.
It'll add some more questions there in his interviews. But as far as where he goes in the draft, I don't think anybody goes, we're not going to draft him because he decided to street race.
Yeah.
If he was intoxicated or something, that would be a different situation. If he was
Right.
driving the car and got someone killed, that would be a different situation.
Right. Well, he wouldn't. I don't even know if he'd be in the draft.
Well, he might not be alive, but it's a sad story. It was a dumb mistake, and hopefully he learns from it and moves on. Now, speaking of the draft too, a lot of teams aren't going to the combine. Jeff, the Packers are one of them. The Green Bay Packers said they can watch all the tape online. We can watch it all online. We don't need to go to the combine. They're missing those in-person interviews.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I mean, I guess you could Skype. I don't know if they're gonna be able to Skype them, but some teams have obligated to say, "Hey, we don't need to go," and the Packers are one of them, which kind of makes me a little worried. But just interesting. I'm a little worried if they can't do the sit-down interviews. If they don't care about the interviews, then
is it? I wonder
weird,
if
right?
if they have a person from the Packers there, even though it's not the whole deal.
Yeah, maybe
it's like a representative of the Packers that could be there. That you don't have to have everybody out there and running around. I don't know. That's kind of weird though.
It is weird. It's the first I've heard of it. Well, speaking of weird and stupid, Juju Smith. I can't stand this guy. Okay, Juju Smith has been talking mad beef against the Eagles after This all started during Valentine's Day, and we all know about the play in the NFL where it was the last play of the last tee for Mahomes for the end zone, and Juju got held, and it was Bradbury or Bradley or somebody from the Eagles who held him, and that's what basically killed the game. Well, he sent out a Valentine's Day card with Bradley's face on it, and said, "I'll hold you at the best of moments," or something, making fun of the call and everything. Well, AJ Brown goes on there and says, "Hey, go enjoy your Super Bowl, well deserved." And then he body bags Juju Smith and says, he says, "Your career was resurrected by Patrick Mahomes, you TikTok boy." I was like, "Oh, dang." Well, Juju keeps talking crap, and he makes this dumb skit the other day on TikTok or Instagram or somewhere, puts it out there making fun of the Eagles again, and AJ Brown calls him out again and says, "Don't let that ring get your A beat, okay? I'm all about that. Like, come over here and I'll whoop." And I can't stand it. And this annoys me because Juju Smith is not a good wide receiver.
He's he had
Juju
his
Smith,
heyday. He had his
yes.
heyday with Roethlisberger.
He came out of college, and they were like, "Oh, this guy's gonna be great," and he did okay his rookie year, but he's not been anything, and
Right.
that's why they traded him away to the Chiefs. And this year, Patrick Mahomes made him better. But when you're talking crap and you can't back it up, and you're talking crap against AJ Brown, who's way better, doesn't even come close. You can't even hold the guy's jock strap, and here you are going up. I'm like, dude, I hope he punches you in the mouth. Like, I want to see
Here's the other ridiculous part to this whole thing is that Melvin Gordon was trying to do the same thing. Like he got cut by the Broncos, and the Chiefs picked him up.
And he gets a cheap ring.
And so he sits there. He's got his cigar and he's got the trophy and the hat on. I'm like, dude, you did nothing. You literally did nothing.
Wouldn't you feel like, I don't know, if I was there, I'd be like, cool, I get a ring, but I didn't do anything. Would you feel like you've actually earned this? No.
I don't think so.
I don't count that. If Melvin Gordon retires and that was his only Super Bowl, I'm not counting that crap.
No,
He didn't play. He didn't do anything for him.
no.
So it's just, and I just can't stand Juju. I'm like, dude, just shut up. Like, yes, you won your ring. Don't get all braggy about it, thinking you're the best wide receiver over here. Because you're right, AJ Brown's right. Your career was resurrected by Patrick Mahomes, and without him, you would be a nobody right now, dude. Like, it's it's laughable,
Oh yeah.
laughable. We have any other NFL news before we jump over to the NBA? Jeff, you have anything in the NFL that you might want to discuss, talk about?
It's a small thing. When it comes to like the Broncos and stuff. Uh, just yeah, we're starting to see a little bit more of what Sean Payton is going to be doing. He's at the combine with a lot of. He's finalized his coaching staff. I think at this point, they did get rid of their old strength and conditioning coach. Thank God, that guy was horrible. I don't know how many ACL tears and injuries and all kinds of craziness that's been going on with the whole offensive line, and then this whole second string of the offensive line. So I mean, it was pretty bad. I think the Broncos last year was like the worst ranked offensive line in the NFL. So it's pretty bad. But they brought in a new guy, and hopefully that's going to change things. The whole Russell Wilson situation, he's pretty much nixed all of that. He's not going to have his own office. He's not going to have his own parking stuff, his own team. It's all going to be shot in Payton's way. And I think they said that Wilson's been talking to Breeze a lot. Kind of, I guess, picking his brain as to what to expect and all this kind of stuff. And so it's kind of interesting. So I think it'll humble him. I think him having a losing season humbled him. Because that's never happened in his entire career. So it was something that was definitely different for him. And I think every quarterback should go through something like that. To kind of ground you a little bit. And kind of bring you down to earth a little bit. It happened to Rodgers. He didn't have a good year at one point, and then bounced back. Went on to win an MVP. So I just think that this is going to be a good culture change within the locker room, all that stuff. And I think they recently didn't they do a grading sheet of all 32 teams? And the players rank the coaching staff, or they've ranked the facilities, or whatever.
Yeah, they just ranked all that. I didn't really look at it and pay attention to who was top.
Well, the interesting part to pay attention to is like the coaching staff, the ownership, all these other things like that, and all of that is NFLPA. It's all players doing that, so it's the players saying what they feel about this, and this. So that I'm sure that they're going to take a look at that as well. So on top with that whole front of what was going on, I think the complete culture change in the locker room is going to be huge for this team. And that's one of the reasons why I liked the Sean Payton signing, was because I knew that he was going to come in here very much like a Bill Belichick and just change, no nonsense. This whole thing of, special this and special arrangement there and all that kind of stuff is out the window. So,
I think I do think that Sean Payton is he's a good coach. I think that it's a good hire. Did I like the stuff you gave up for him? No, but we've already talked about that.
mm-hmm.
But he will bring a culture there, and he will bring a what's to be expected. If your team comes out and plays like crap, he will get that changed. That will change. I think that last year, the expectations, the standards set by the head coach was not very high, and you kept losing games. And the way you kept losing games, and the bad play, well, Sean Payton won't put up with that. You come out and throw a stinker out, Sean Payton's going to get that fixed. So I do think culture matters, and head coach matters mostly. I think more in football than anywhere else, sports wise. But I do think we will see a different Bronco team next year.
No, and I completely I agree with that as well. And I just think that number one, I mean, fix the O line. It's atrocious last year, and I get it. There were injuries. There were injuries to the first string, injuries to the second string. And it created this massive problem. I mean, and not throwing excuses out there, but in terms of sacks, Wilson was at the top. He was getting sacked left and right. So it just that offensive line was bad, and it was bad for the running game. We couldn't run the ball. We couldn't. He didn't have to pass the ball. It was a mess. And then you have on top of that, some plays that Hackett was even calling were just odd. Just weird play call, weird times, and things like that. So I don't really I mean, it was interesting because the last couple of games we actually played better, and the offensive line started getting healthier. So it was just these little bits of stuff, and I think in order to fix things, number one is offensive line. Fix it, and I think Sean Payton's he's picked the right people to change that.
Who's your offensive line coach? Do you know?
I think it's the one that he used in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
There's a guy, McCarthy brought him into Dallas. His name's Joe Philbin. Fantastic offensive line coach. He was with Green Bay for a long time. He was fantastic. He went over to join McCarthy in Dallas, and they ended up firing him this offseason. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, like why? This guy helped you. They had plethora of injuries on that offensive line last year. You had Tyron Smith go out. You had your rookie start over there, and he was the most penalized offensive lineman in college football. And he comes in and plays really well. He was not penalized. I thought he did a fantastic job in Dallas, and then they fire him. I'm going, what are we doing? This guy will be off the market soon. This guy's a great offensive line coach. So I just wonder who he was. And
yeah, it was one that he had in New Orleans that he was familiar with, I think.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense. And they had a good offensive line in New Orleans for a long time. So
yeah.
That's in terms of football, that's all I got.
We'll get into a little more of different thing. Oh, where is it? There it is. I had two hot takes that I talked about, and I already feel like one of them isn't going to happen. But I thought Lamar to the Jets would be good. I think that's a good fit, and I think Jimmy G is going to the Raiders. And I say that because the McDaniels, and I said on there, I don't know if it's a hot take.
McDaniels liked Jimmy G,
and I don't even know. He knows the system, right?
Right? Wasn't he? Didn't he pick him?
He was there, I think, when they picked him, but I don't know if he had that.
I'm sure
I don't know if he actually
some say in that, but
I just thought I was like, okay, that one's not a hot take, but Lamar Jackson to the Jets, I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, but I think we bring him back, but I hope not. Anyways, that's a whole different discussion. Don't get me down that loophole, Jeff. We'll be here all night. All right. We're going to start talking about some NBA. I'm a NBA, so let's go ahead and click that video. All right. Well, if you're watching us here, I gotta give a shout out. All the videos, all the graphics here is done by Jeff. So I appreciate you, Jeff, and all the stuff that you do for the show, and that's pretty cool. Let's talk about some basketball. We haven't talked about basketball in a while. It's because it's a long season, and most of it's taken NFL. So the NFL is our main thing, but Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving combined for 82 points the other night to beat the 76ers. Did I get that wrong? I thought it was the Bucks.
It wasn't the Bucks.
It wasn't the Bucks. It was the 76ers.
Yeah.
Great win. But, and here's my but, Jeff. Great win. Not taking anything away from it.
It's a good team. It's a good team.
It's a great win because they beat a great team, right? They beat a good team. It's the first time that two Dallas Mavericks have scored 40 points or more. Two of them. It's the first time ever in franchise history.
Gosh. Even with Dirk and Nash. That's crazy.
That's insane, right? My butt is the Mavericks aren't going anywhere. My butt is they're not good enough to beat a good team in 7 rounds in the playoffs. Like, we're gonna make the playoffs, but we're not gonna go that far. You've got two guys to beat the 76ers. You had to have two guys score over 40. That's insane. Put it on their backs.
Team defense.
Their defense is garbage.
Yeah, there's no defense.
There's already talks about Jason Kidd. Like, we got to get this guy out of here. Jeff, what is he doing? We got Christian Wood. He's our third best player. He doesn't play many minutes. Our defense is garbage. The defense last season was good. Well, how did we go from this to that? Josh Green, a guy that showed promise this season, he's sitting the bench. He's not playing him. Why are we not playing our players? It's killing me. There's already talks going, okay, kid, what are you doing? Because this isn't working. And you refuse to play players. I just don't get it. Last year, there's always talk about Jason Kidd coming in here and being great. He's changed his ways from all the red flags he had. He's learned. He got us to they went to the Western Conference. They didn't go to the Western Conference Finals last year. Did they go to the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, because they were.
They did.
Yeah.
And wow, this one year he does this. I talked about it last year. It was a little bit lucky and fluky of the teams he played, the injuries we played. But I'm sorry, guys. They're not going to go nowhere this year. They're not going to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Unless he starts changing lineups to where the defense starts to click. I mean, I don't. I mean, you have to. You obviously have to do something. But I like Kyrie and Luka together. Like, they're fun to watch. It's a fun dynamic. I think it's an interesting. It's honestly, I wouldn't have thought that they would have played together or meshed.
I think what makes them mesh well is they both can work off the ball. Like, that's what was different with Luka. He was the only one on his team that could take the ball and get his own shot. He doesn't work off the ball a whole lot, but Kyrie Irving will work his butt off to get that basketball. He's running through multiple screens. He gets the ball. And Kyrie Irving, if it was just his basketball play and didn't come with all the other stuff that Kyrie Irving brings, he's masterful at that basketball. He's taking well-known defenders to the hole, making them look foolish at times. Fantastic to watch. Does he sign up with the Dallas Mavericks next season? I don't know. He could walk away and we wouldn't be left with nothing.
And ultimately, maybe not. I mean, I think that the Mavericks have more cap space. They could sign a max contract to some free agent, but I hope they bring him back. I think it somehow works. It's not a high crazy market. It's not. You're not competing for the limelight. It seems like him and Luke are on equal ground.
It seems like they like playing with each other.
It doesn't seem like one's above the other in any way, shape, or form. I think that is kind of interesting. I don't think for 1 minute that Kyrie has ever played like that with people. I think usually it's always like, oh, KD's on this level. Sorry, you're not KD. LeBron's on this level. Sorry, you're not LeBron. And he's never really been on an equal ground. And I think that's kind of interesting because they're on equal ground, it seems like to me, in terms of ability and they're right there. And it just doesn't seem like one is outshining the other. It doesn't seem like the limelight is always on Luka. Everyone's looking at Luka. Like, when you're playing with LeBron, everyone's looking at LeBron. They're not looking at anybody else. It's all about him. He is the player. And KD was the same way in with the Nets. I just think I think it's different for Kyrie
This could be something where he feels like, okay, I can fit in here, and maybe he stays.
Yeah.
I like it either way. I think if he leaves, we do have that opens up a cap space, that opens up a cap space that allows us to go sign somebody else.
Right.
So we're not totally screwed if he leaves. But I
Right.
would like to see us keep him,
I'd like
and
to.
then add a third piece.
I think a third piece has to be a defensive player. Add some big guy that can get the rebounds,
Our
block
rebounding
those.
is terrible.
Yeah, block. It's god awful. Block shots. I mean, you got to have somebody in there because we got to be able to rebound the ball. Because if we can rebound the ball and get those take away those second chance points from another team, throw them, and then you pass it off out back to Luka or Kyrie. That will destroy teams, but letting it bounce to them, and then they try to shoot and they miss, and then they try to dunk, they miss, and they get it back, and then they shoot it again and they make it. And it's just like, that's just easy points you just gave back to a team that didn't deserve it. So that's what I mean. Like, getting those rebounds are huge. Getting a defensive player that's awesome would be huge for this team. If they could keep Kyrie and add another massive defensive piece, I mean, this team would be would make this team dangerous.
I agree. All right, let's go about around the NBA here. Let's go look at the standings, Jeff. The Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks have only lost 17 games this year. Fantastic season for them. Boston Celtics, the 76ers. Those are your three top dogs on the East. And the Mavericks just beat one of them. So it took 82 points from the two starters, but those are your main dogs over there. Boston's only half a game out of first. And then 76ers are 5 games back from the Celtics. So you've got to have a drop off there. Giannis is on a whole different level. I mean, he might be the best basketball player in the NBA. I mean, he's an absolute beast. The Celtics are playing great team basketball. I like Embiid and the 76ers. I think that it's going to definitely come down between those three to go to the championship, in my opinion, on that side on the Eastern Conference. You got Brooklyn Nets are 6th seed, the Knicks at 5, and Jalen Brunson's had a really good year for them. He left Mavericks off the offseason, and everyone's going, "Well, why don't we keep Jalen Brunson?" Well, he couldn't play with Luka.
No, that was pretty obvious.
This did not work because he could not put those games out there with Luka. And if he could, he would be here, right? But he couldn't. So he went to New York because he knew that he could be his own guy and do that. Right. And he's putting up performances left and right out there, and kudos to him. But and then Cleveland at number 4, which is kind of interesting. And Miami Heat has kind of had an off year. They're number 7 right now.
Oof.
So they've had an off season this year, or just an off year this year, as they're usually top 3 or 4 in the East. And then you look at the Western Conference, and the Denver Nuggets they have a 5-game lead at number 1 spot. And then, you got Memphis, you got Sacramento Kings are 3rd place. What are we doing? That's great for them. And then when you look at the rest of the league from 4 to 10, it's all jumbled. The Suns are at 4. They're 10 games back. The Warriors are at 5. They're 11 games back. The Dallas Mavericks are at 6. They're 11 and a half. Clippers are 12 games back. Minnesota 12 and a half. And then the 9 and 10, which is Utah and New Orleans, are both 13. So
where's LA?
LA is not even in the playoffs right now. LA is number 11 right now. And they just lost LeBron James for weeks. They are done. Stamp them done. Stick a fork in them. They're done. Without LeBron, they ain't got a chance.
They have AD.
Yeah, Mr. Street Clothes. Charles Barkley, that's my favorite nickname for him. He's Mr. Street Clothes. And if you're telling me your season's on Anthony Davis's health, you might as well wrap it up early because it's not going to work out. They did say LeBron doesn't need surgery on his ankle, but they're going to reevaluate him in, I believe, 3 weeks. Let me look that up because 3 weeks is a long time. Let me look that up.
Especially for basketball, because you got many games in between that it's just like that you nearly, I mean, I don't say you play every day, but you nearly do.
Yeah, 3 weeks, Jeff. How many games are left? That is the question. Because there's not many left, and can he catch up? I don't know. I hope not, because I would love him to sit here and come out. And he said last year, "I will never miss the playoffs ever again." And then they come out here this year and they miss it. Back-to-back seasons would be just icing on the cake for me. But my gosh, the Houston Rockets are 13-49. They've won 3 more games than what Milwaukee's lost this season. That is terrible. Whew. The Spurs 16-47. Oh, that. Whew. There's some bad basketball teams there, buddy. There's some bad basketball teams. All right. Well, that was your NBA recap here. We're excited for baseball. We're gonna have some more baseball talk. We're gonna have those. The NFL always feeds us information. We're gonna have a draft show with my buddy Ryan, who comes on and he studies the draft. It's insane to me. Jeff, he told me last year who my team was picking, and he got it 100% right. And I was like, "How do you do this?" Um, he's good. He sat down and gave me his top 40 players or something last year, and told me who we were going to get, told me who he thought they were going to get, and he was right. I was like, that's insane. So I like to have him on before the draft starts. We'll have a draft show and talk about that. We have decided to do episodes just on Friday because this is kind of the slow part of sports. So we'll have episodes on Friday and we'll put out different things during the week. Hopefully Craig will get on with a hockey hat trick going on and talk about some hockey. But Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and ask you that question before we wrap it up here. What is in your locker?
Just obviously you can see behind me. Gearing up to get out of this place and move to another place. So it's been interesting. Just overall, like that process and trying to finish up the final touches here and everything else.
I hate moving, man. Oh,
yeah.
It's a beating.
Yeah. I think Brian helped me last time I did. So it's just been doing that. Gotten snow here on and off, this last month really. Work's been good. Just glad to kind of be having a normal work-life balance. So yeah, I mean, overall, just, doing a couple things with some book covers and designing some of those. And I'm also doing a couple of things for this, and then just overall just staying busy. Kind of now that things are kind of slowed down with the packing stuff, I think it's just kind of a smooth sail from here until we actually do it. So, but yeah, overall, just been doing that. I have been watching Last of Us. Brian already knows about that.
Yes.
And it's been great. So far, it's been an awesome show. I think there's 2 episodes left. It came quick.
2? Oh,
2.
my gosh.
So it's gonna be kind of a roller coaster here these last 2 episodes. And actually been playing some, unfortunately, Madden.
Ugh. That game's terrible.
It's god awful. But there's a new football game that somebody recently created or they're gonna launch or something. It's gonna be a free to play. And it has like realistic player physics. Think realistic.
Well, let me know because
physics.
I haven't played a football game in probably 3 or 4 years.
And they don't have like the real teams, obviously, but
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun to actually try and play something that's a lot different than Madden. And according to the rumor is that this is the year. If they don't get it right, something's people are being fired. So let's see if they actually pull it off. I don't know. I mean, who knows? But yeah, other than that, yeah, just kind of excited for baseball season. Yankees have done a couple moves, but mostly a lot of the talent that they have is going to be in the young pool. They have an insane amount of shortstops. I don't know if they're going to because they're all really good.
You're gonna play them all at once. There's 4.
Someone's getting traded. I don't know, but I think they're going to keep Volpe. He's lighting it up. He's excellent. I think they're going to definitely keep him and maybe even move somebody else to third base. But yeah, like in terms of that, I'm just ready for baseball season to start. I'm just ready to get this going because I want to see these rule changes in action. I want to see how they impact the game, and I'm just excited to see. Freaking Houston! If only the Yankees could get past Houston. Gosh, I hate that team.
I hate them too. I think a lot of people do.
My God.
They're good, unfortunately.
And now they don't have Verlander anymore. Mr.
He went to New York, right?
Yeah, he went to the Mets. Mr. Unbreakable. It's like, what is this? How's this? His arm has got to be robotic at this point. There's no way.
His arm's gonna fall off when he retires. just right there on the stage.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm excited about is baseball right now because football's over. Obviously, I am kind of interested in the draft, even though the Broncos aren't picking in round 1. So or round 2 maybe, I don't know, but I am interested to see it free agency what the Broncos do. That's kind of what's intriguing to me because I know they're going to do some things in free agency, but I don't know what.
I hope my quarterback would hurt and make his dang mind up.
He's still in his hole. No, he's not.
So stupid. So stupid, Jeff. I'm over him.
So what's in your locker?
I am over him. My locker, it's been an interesting couple weeks. I talked a little bit, I hit on it a little bit last week. I am shadowing my manager because hopefully I'll be taking over the manager spot. So that's been pretty interesting. I was in a truck this week though. I worked 3 13-hour shifts in a row. It's been a long week, Jeff. It's been a long week of work and rain and tornado-like winds last night. We had 80-mile-per-hour winds at the house. We looked out back and sky was green and black, and I'm like, this does not look good. We were under a tornado watch. We had lots of rain, and it rained pretty much all night, and it rained until about 4 o'clock this morning. And
you have coverage on your house for that, by the way?
I have house insurance. I don't know if it covers. Well, yeah, it's going to cover like if our roof gets damaged and stuff like that. It'll cover that.
But if a tornado comes in and just come,
I don't know. If a tornado comes in and wipes it out, I hope it's covered. Maybe I want to look into that. I mean, we didn't get the flood insurance because we don't flood here in Texas or I'm at, but I might want to look into that. We haven't had a tornado here in a long, long time though, so let's keep that streak alive. We had a coworker. He's actually new to the job. His roof blew off his house in Burleson last night. Pouring rain in his living room, and we were like, "Holy crap!" He just started like a week ago. Poor. I feel bad for the guy.
He was watching Last of Us at the exact same time that was happening, so he was getting the full experience.
The full experience.
The rain, and it's like, what?
The Last of Us, just glorious. It's a fantastic show. I was talking about it a little bit last week too, Jeff. And I was, even if you haven't played the game, go watch the show. The show will make you want to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you played the game, you better be watching the show. You probably are. This thing's a big hit. I think the actors have been fantastic. I think it's probably the best video game to movie / whatever TV show in existence. I mean,
Yeah,
what's
I don't think
better?
there's anything bigger than that.
It's great, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Yellowstone starting back up. Morgan Wall.
I think Kevin Costner is not doing Yellowstone anymore.
Yeah, well, there's a second part of it this season. Second part, or season 6 or whatever. They split these seasons up, and I'm like, is this the second part of this, or is it? But that's starting up. Hopefully, well, I think that's starting up later this year. 19. It's like 1922 or 24 or something. One of those.
Yeah, I think so.
Is starting back up soon. That one's really good. It's got Harrison Ford in it. That one is actually pretty good. I didn't really care for the 18 whatever the year it was with Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. It was okay. It was not really all that good. But the second one, the 1900 one, was great. And then I like Yellowstone. So, I've been watching a little different things. Like I love Dirty Jobs. Mike Rowe. You like that show?
Oh yeah.
I would go on Discovery Plus and started watching that, and Undercover Boss.
That's a good one.
We've been watching just random shows, but right now it's definitely Last of Us. And other than that,
we recently watched one that was it's two people that met online, and then they get thrown into on this island, and they have to like be on this island and with no TV, no cell phone, no nothing for a whole week, and to see if they're compatible.
That's horrible. That sounds horrible.
It's great because these people are like, what do we do? And it's like, talk. I mean, what do you
talk to each other?
Well,
it's like,
geez.
Last night when our power flickered on and off, it never really went out, but my internet went out for like 30 minutes, and I was like, I don't know, what the hell are we gonna do?
Yeah,
like, oh man, what are we gonna do now? But
bring out the board games.
Bring out the board games. My kids lost pieces too, and missing half of the. One kid chewed on the corner of the board, and kids. But that's about it, man. This weekend I got not much going on. We're going to play. We're going to a place called Taco Oasis, and they have a pickleball court that our friend Amber's rented out. We're gonna go play pickleball, eat some tacos, and
I'm familiar with marketing for pickleball.
Are you?
Yes.
I've never played. I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube video on how to play.
I didn't even know it existed until I worked at Wilbridge.
I'm going to kill it because I used to play tennis in high school, and I love ping pong, and it's a mixture of both. And I'm like, okay, this is my sport. Not a lot of running. Ball and paddle, I'll be good. So, other than that, Jeff, that's about it. Just really looking forward to the manager training, and I start back next week in the office with that. So. But other than that, that's it, man. We're excited, looking forward to more episodes. We're on 190, almost 200. Just keep rolling them out. We'll get more content out there. I got to be better at TikTok. I'm horrible at doing the TikToks. But I need to do more of those. I need to get better at that because that's the problem. Is everyone else is so good at all the different details and the graphics
I'm figuring something out with that
because it's annoying. I'm like, all I can do is just this with a video, and I'm just me talking, and it's just I'm like, how is everyone else doing this? I don't know. I'm not that well into it, but all right, guys, I'll stop rambling on. I hope you enjoy your week. end. All right, I am off tomorrow for the first time in a long time, and 2 days off in a row. It's gonna be fantastic. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Jeff, I appreciate you jumping on. I hope you have a great weekend. Hopefully, it's not spent packing the whole time.
Oh,
But all right, guys, God bless, and remember,
keep it outspoken.